Hello, Xers and interwebers. Welcome to Naive in the 90s, the podcast. I'm your host, Emily. I was a 70s baby, an 80s kid, and a 90s troublemaker. On today's show, we will be visiting with 4 of my oldest and dearest friends, the girls that helped shape life in my formative years. When I say I was a troublemaker in the 90s, there was very few times where one or more of these girls were not there raising hell too. I am so excited about this episode, and lucky me, and you, this was so awesome, one episode cannot contain it all, so it will be in 2 parts. With all that said, let's just jump into it. But first, a quick passage from the creative nonfiction book Naive in the 90s, now available on Amazon. August 30th, 1993, Monday. Well, I went to the Riders on the Storm concert. It was wild. I went with Amy, and we got there like 6:30. We found the freaks, Esther, Lily, Anne, Randy, Chunk, whose real name is Charles. I'm not actually sure why they call him Chunk. He's not at all chunky in any way. But then there was Robin, Calvin, Chrissy, and just everyone. And we were the first on the little stage thing to be dancing. It was wild and amazing. The weather was gorgeous. The music was magic. My best friends and I dancing like crazies. Perfection. Before we get to the call, I just want to say this was so fun to record. Each of these women holds a special place in my heart, both as a group and individually. I would not be who I am in all of the good ways without their influence and love. Each of them are so very special, unique, and just amazingly amazing. They are the main characters, like the ensemble cast of just the best comedy drama movie you could ever imagine. And I feel so lucky to be able to be a side character in their stories. They are just, they're the best. On a technical note, there are a few quirky spots. Not many, but there are a couple sprinkled here and there. But I really feel for like 5 remote Gen X callers who are not even close to pros, because none of us are. We really don't know what we're doing. We're just kind of having fun and winging it. But I think this call is fantastic. So if it seems like a drop happens or a name is missing, just yes. It will quickly get back on track, and oopsie, and I apologize. But I swear it's worth the listen. I also included part of the initial beginning of the call before introductions for the show and like before we officially started, because it was just way too much fun not to share. It literally makes me smile just so hard. So yeah, here we go.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, it's been a while.
I know, I've missed you so much.
Holy hell, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. Yay!
Can you hear me good? Because I have to, right? That worked way too freaking smoothly. I'm a little nervous. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Oh, good. Oh, this is so exciting. Oh my God. Wait.
Hello?
Stop. No.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Hi, guys.
I can't believe we're all together. Holy shit.
I know. Do you feel like you're like on total phone right now?
Totally.
Yes.
I was just going to say that.
Okay, so we're gonna meet up at Game Room in an hour,
Oh my
right?
God.
Girls play games night.
Oh God.
I actually would though. I mean,
I
in
would
all
too.
honesty, like if we could do like one of those billiard nights again and
Oh,
then, go have a couple drinks on the train tracks, I would totally do it.
yes.
Are you finger gunning?
What? Wait, finger gunning! I, I finger guns is the answer to anything and everything. Finger guns. Today is a super exciting show as I get to welcome some of my very oldest and dearest friends to just talk about life, rehash some old memories, and in general, just visit and have some fun. Please welcome Amy, Esther, Anne, and Lily. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Hello.
So it's been, 20, 25, maybe close to 30 years since all of us have even been in the same spot physically to like even talk even on the phone all at the same time. And I just wanted to say this is just amazing and thank you so much for coming on. And like, you all have done other podcast shows with me, and just it means so much for you to share in this like nostalgic journey and to share parts of you that are maybe some of them are really super fun to visit, but then other ones are kind of not the most fun. And I really appreciate you guys just like being willing to be here and open up. So I love you and thank you.
We love you too.
Whoever's read the book will know or has listened to past shows that we've all known each other for a very long time. We kind of, grew up together. We went to high school together. We hung out with the same crowds. I would like to just go around, like one by one. And if you would just, like describe how you were back in high school, like who you were, who was that girl back then?
So this is my perception. So other people might have thought like differently, but in my mind of who I was. So when I was coming into, so between 10th and 12th grade, when I was coming in, I grew up in a family that basically I was like confined to the yard. I could not leave the yard. I couldn't go anywhere. My parents had 12 kids, so they weren't able to drive anywhere. All my mom did was laundry, cook, and clean. That's literally her life. So I like basically lived on this street that was narrow as hell, and nobody was around me basically. I had just a couple of friends that were able to come over if they got a ride because my parents wanted to give a ride. And if I wanted to walk to a friend's house, I wasn't allowed to because I was going to go and hang out with boys and get pregnant. So coming into, and they were probably, they were right. So hey, so anyway, so going into 10th grade, I really felt isolated. I was the type of person that felt extremely isolated and like kind of trapped. So it was a lot of my friends that I had when I was growing up, they were starting to go out, hang out with guys, get boyfriends, all this other stuff, do all this fun stuff. And I was still stuck at home because I wasn't allowed to do anything. Because one, I wasn't trusted. Two, I think my mom was just too lazy to, and overwhelmed to do anything. So that was what was going on there. I started being rebellious. So I started just being like, well, I'm just going to go and do whatever I want to do. So then I became kind of like the rebellious person. And so it was one of those things where I just kind of followed a group wherever I felt that I belonged. And so that was kind of, and then like towards the end, I wound up towards, because I did wind up getting pregnant in 11th grade, moved out of my parents' house. And then by 12th grade, it was just survival at that point in time. It was like being a mom, survival. Again, it was isolation because now here I am as a teen mom and, my son's father was still going out and partying and doing all this stuff, but I was just like, I'm with a child. So I still had friends because a lot of the group of friends that I was hanging with also had kids. So we would, hang out and do like play dates and stuff like that. But it was kind of a turn of like, okay, going from trying to, be someone like a teen, find myself and just like kind of have fun and do all the fun things to boom, just like slammed right into like, okay, be an adult now because you have another
Right.
child, you have a child that you got to take care of. So
Yeah.
that's kind of,
Yeah, you had no transition.
I had no I had my only transition was playing from Barbies, running out of my parents' house because I was just like, so to like, boom, but, it's no longer a Barbie in my hand, it's a baby, So it was
Yeah.
like, damn. But, but it also in my opinion, it saved my life because a lot of people that we hung out with, wound up dying.
Yeah.
A lot of the people that we know have died because of the path that they went down, and I was on that path. So
Yeah.
So going into high school, junior high, I got picked on really bad. So I was really bullied and didn't have a lot of friends. I had like one or two good friends, but they went to the other junior high that I went to. So I didn't have any friends at my junior high. I got picked on a lot. I was the kid that ate alone, at lunch or the nurse's office. I did that a lot. So going to high school was it was terrifying for me. I was terrified to go into high school. So I went in without really any good friends, and I was kind of just a misfit. And then I met these awesome girls, and made friends with you guys, which I never thought would happen. And then I just was still that like dorky girl, we'd be hanging out. I'm like, don't act weird, don't act weird. Oh my God, am I acting really weird? Everybody's thinking I'm weird.
Can I say you were definitely not dorky. Just throwing that out. And I want people to know Esther also, as much of she didn't get to go out and everything, she also was not in any way like a mild person. She was like one of those cool girls, like a flannel wearing like cool girl. And I just want people to get that image, because you guys are like I know how we perceive ourselves is a lot probably tamer than how other people perceive us, but I just want the audience to know that like as much as these girls think that they were, isolated and, dorky or shy or whatever, they were actually very large personalities and were amazing. So, and there was a lot of flannel and tight
So much
pants.
flannel.
So much flannel. So much flannel. My dad had the best flannel collection, because Western Massachusetts coming from there. And it was just like, I remember I opened up his closet door one day and I was, I'm like, I'm going to take all of these.
Yeah.
But all I know is that you girls made my high school experience. It's so much fun. You made school worth going to every day, and I loved it so much because of you girls. All my funnest memories and the best times that I had all revolve around you. And that I came out of my shell, and it was just fun. I just remember it being fun. I remember I could act myself, and I could be as stupid or as crazy as I wanted to be. And I knew you guys would laugh, and we'd just have fun. I didn't feel judged or like I had to be somebody else like I do, in life now. But yeah, it was just, I don't know. I was feral. We talked about this, Emily, before. And as I remember, my house was the place that everybody could kind of go to and kind of feel safe. There were parents around, and if you needed a parent to talk to, they were there. And
but we could also smoke cigarettes and pot
and drink.
And
And sleep in the same room as boys.
I mean, literally, your apartment, your bedroom was the first room I ever slept in the same room with a boy, like ever.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing?
I remember when I was 14, my curfew was 1:00 in the morning.
Yeah,
and
that's
crazy.
crazy.
I could have my boyfriend sleep over at 14.
Yeah, that's crazy. I never earned that. So
My parents, I think, just didn't want to deal with me. Do you know what I mean? It was just easier. Growing up, I can remember from a very young age, I maybe 5 or 6 growing up, my mom would be like, I don't want you in the house, and I don't want to see you until it gets dark.
yeah.
And it started at a very, very young age. So I grew up just kind of being on my own. I'm an only child, and I grew up to like
Right.
knowing that not to be in the house, not to bug my parents, and I could go out and do whatever the hell I wanted to, and I did.
Yeah. I mean, not to like harp on the whole so-called life theme that I've had here and there, especially with you, but like another connection with you and Rayanne is like her mom also was kind of like a hippie mom who didn't really care what she was doing, and like that was exactly how your parents were. They were just kind of like, we're cool, you're cool, it's all cool.
It's all good.
Yeah. So Anne, do you wanna tell us a little bit about how you were back in the day?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like my self-perception is that I was the quiet one. I
Sorry.
I don't know. I guess not. So that's how I felt. I felt like I was more of an introvert. I was more of the one that, I still am like this to this day, the people pleaser. So I kind of just went with the flow of things. I wasn't the one to, if we're supposed to go somewhere and it changed, I wasn't the one to think about it, so I always kind of felt like the background person. In a lot of scenarios in high school, I didn't date anybody from my high school during high school. So I didn't have a specific clique when it came to that. My high school friends were just friends with the person I dated. So it was a different mixture, I think, for me in high school, because once I left school, I literally didn't really have to deal with, they weren't part of, unless I wanted them, unless I invited them into my world, they weren't part of my world. I'm an only child, so I was very, I guess, kind of sheltered in a way. My parents were really overprotective, and I think one of the only reasons I wasn't in the situation you girls were in was because of my illness as a child. So
right.
But it's watching you guys all go through it, and then seeing you as adults and seeing all your kids pretty much as adults, it really makes my heart smile that everybody went down such a good path, even though it could have gone so terribly wrong. And so I commend you guys for really doing something with yourselves and sticking to, I'm not going to be that statistic or what that,
you. Lily, how about you?
I don't remember anything. No. I don't know. I moved in elementary school, and you guys were saying too, like bullied. Oh my God, the people in our town were so mean. Horribly bullied. I spent so much time alone, and then it's like it's this weird thing that happened when we all got together in high school, where we were just like, okay, we found our people, and and it's just so weird just thinking back on it. Like, we smoked a lot of weed and snuck out, and we're out all hours, and roaming the streets, and I think that was it too. But through the whole thing, I really felt like I was like the shyest person. I always hid in my hair. But like, you guys were saying earlier, like once we were together, it was different. Like we could be our dumb selves and nobody cared. We're like, yeah, me too. Same. So that was like the best part. And then I didn't date any of the guys from school either. I got hooked up with the party guys. Also ended up pregnant. That definitely, I agree. I think it saved my life too. Like it was the way to get us out. It may have been a crazy lesson, because I'll never forget though, the first time they handed her to me, I was like, I've never held a baby. You're gonna send me home with it? Oh my God.
They're like, here, good luck.
Yeah.
The last time I saw you, all the girls there at Game Room, I think we're eating ice cream out of a carton and doing whippets with the whipped cream can.
That sounds right.
That does sound right. Like, oh my God.
Frankly, I still hang out with a bunch of those guys, so my life didn't stretch too.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
End up where you guys are like, remember when? No, you know I'm not going to remember when. I don't remember high school at all. I'm surprised I remember anything.
I only remember the guys that I thought were really cute, and that was it. Everybody else was just like a blur.
Kind of, yeah. I don't know if it's a trauma response or I just don't like it.
I know.
Yeah.
Definitely
Probably.
trauma.
Definitely trauma.
We're all just made of trauma.
Yes.
Oh.
My brain was like, you know what? We're going to replace that one. Thanks, bye.
Yeah, all I really remember of high school, all my really good memories revolves around all of you girls.
Yeah.
I really
Same.
don't remember anything else.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything good anything worth remembering is definitely you guys.
Yeah.
Well, we were raised by parents, though, that were like, put on your big girl pants and keep moving. And we're like, okay, I'll just keep putting my trauma in my pockets
Yeah.
Yeah.
with the gumballs and it'll be fine.
My mom's favorite thing is it's all in your head. You just got to learn to change your thinking and you'll be fine. Okay.
My mother
That's
is
what they have medication for, right?
Too shall pass,
Yeah.
darling. She still says it to me. This too shall pass, just like everything else.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll work with that.
Yep. I tell you, like, this too shall pass was a regular, and I feel like sayings like that became super popular with our dumb 80s TV, where like everyone, the solution was always saying something like that.
Yeah.
And like our parents were like, oh well, it worked on Who's the Boss, so let's try it here.
Yeah, right.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I am not that person at all. And I laugh because I will tell people, I'm like, I was shy. And they're like, the fuck? What do you mean you were shy? I'm like, I was shy. And quiet a lot of the time.
You
And
Hiding behind your hair.
Yeah. And I'm like, and to probably no one's surprise, I have ADHD.
No.
Don't we all?
Yep.
He's
Did
like,
all drink water.
Do your kids talk about kidnapping you when you're old, making you live with them? Because that's what I get now.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
yeah.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Do a granny pod.
Yes, that's the same. Yes.
Oh my god, I love that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
but it was funny because it's the younger one who says, oh, she still lives with me. Her and her boyfriend live here. And I'm always like, who said you get custody of me? And she's like, I said I get custody.
Yeah.
As a mom, there's nothing better than that. Like that. You know what I mean? Like,
No, I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
she
And I
took,
mean,
like everything into consideration. She's like, Mom, I know how much you like to be outside. She goes, so even if you're sitting out like crazy, I'll just put like a 10-foot fence up and you'll have like an enrichment area so you can play in the dirt. But you can't escape. I'm like, thanks, kid.
God, see, that's so sweet. I threaten to put my parents in a home all the time.
I mean, I kind of guess that makes it a little extra special that our kids are all like, well, we'll just put you in a shed in the backyard.
Yeah, we did something right as parents. There you go.
Yeah.
Our
Yeah.
generation, we had the parents that weren't well, my parents weren't bad, but a lot of them had the parents that weren't the greatest, and we learned what not to do as parents. I think our generation, we just treat kids better, and they
Yeah.
want to be around us.
Yeah.
I know every single one of us, we all have amazing, amazing relationships with our kids.
From what I can see, like on Facebook, and I know people only see a little bit on Facebook, but kudos to you, lovely ladies. You all did such an amazing job with your kids, and they're all so beautiful. And
Aw.
I'm just so proud of
Aw.
every single one of you, because you guys were all in situations where things could have turned really bad.
Yeah.
And you all made an amazing life for yourselves and for your kids. And if anything, you should be so proud of that.
Yeah, for sure. No,
Thank you. For real, you guys. Like, I mean, I know all of us have like really extraordinary, relationships with our kids, and even the ones of us who had or have good relationships with our parents, I think that our relationships with our kids are still above and beyond what we had.
Well,
You
I
know,
think
like,
that's because we knew they loved us. They just weren't good at showing us they loved us. So we were like, I'm going to make sure my kid knows I love her. I'm going to smoke the shit out of her and tell her constantly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is said constantly in this house. Constantly. Even my husband goes, do I say it too much to you? I'm like, no.
Never,
Yeah,
never too much.
yeah.
You can't overuse that word.
My kids literally have tracking on the phones. So I know where they know where I am. They do it for me. But
It's like,
where
Mom,
are you?
have it.
Yeah. Check your app. You know where I am, you little shit.
Yeah, I'm like,
They're like, oh no,
I am
Mom's
the adult,
run
damn
off
it.
again.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, we got to go find Mom. Come on.
Yeah.
I do. I get text her. Where are you? Are you coming home? Send me a picture of his face. I'm like, okay, geez, right. I'm the kid.
Don't you deserve to have your youth because you didn't have that time?
No, that's what I was in therapy for too. Is I even said to her, I go, what do I do now? Because she's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I don't know. What do I go? I raised my kids. They're both grown. I said, I have a good job. I own a house. I have all my shit together. I go, now what do I do? She's like, you have to live. I'm like, okay, is there a PowerPoint plan about that? Because I have no idea what I'm doing. I've gone feral again.
On there.
Yeah, it's gone full circle. It's like we were feral as children and now I'm feral again.
Like,
yeah, but then I feel like I've become the guy. I'm the problem.
Oh my God, yes.
I'm like, hi. I would just like to see your penis, and then I'm gonna go home and I'm not gonna call you.
Yeah, no, I know how I would be. That. I just want to be like, I just want to watch a movie and cuddle, and like, when they take their penis out, I want to be like, okay, go home. Because that's enough. I just want the cuddles. Give me a back rub, please. Maybe rub my feet, and then bye.
I love all that too. That's why you date. You're trying to find more. But the problem, okay, I'm just being completely honest. So last night, I went and visited. They all have monikers. This one's the Italian. And he's like, are you going to stay? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll stay. And then I got in bed. I'm like, you know what? No, I'm going to go home. And I feel like I was like, hey, I ate the leftovers you bought yesterday. They're delicious. He's like, you know what? My bed was really great and I slept good in it. I'm sorry. It's me. I'm the problem.
No, you know what, girl? It's you are taking the power in the situation, and that's how it should be.
Right?
That's the fucked up part, though. I just like don't text him, and then I hang out with him for a while, do whatever I want, and then I don't text him. Like the more he fucking texts.
Yeah. I mean,
well, they like it. They like the abuse.
They like the chasing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because that's just, I feel like once they catch you, they don't watch anymore anyway. So I'm just enjoying this part.
That's exactly how it is.
Yeah.
Men suck.
Bastards. They do. At some point down the line in history, someone will find one of our sound bites and just be like, oh my God, what even is this?
It's okay. I'm not going to remember it anyway.
Well, before we get too old not to remember shit, we got to get together, all of us. I don't know where, but like rent a cabin or something for a week and just get together.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be down.
100%. Yes.
Oh, it would be a blast.
Yes. I need that to happen.
Imagine how bad life would be if we had cell phones with video recording.
Oh my
God.
Dude.
And I thank God every day.
Think about that regularly. Like,
I know.
Oh, it's
okay.
So, no.
I'm so
but that's
different.
Why bad things could happen and we could forget. Nowadays, bad things happen. They never forget because it's on video.
Exactly.
As it would be really bad mostly, but part of me is like, man, I really would have loved, a little Vine of just trying to climb up the fucking wall of one of the buildings downtown thinking she was Spider-Man. Like that would make me happy if I had that right now.
Oh my God. I don't know. I did some stupid shit that I'm glad if people remember they can't prove it.
Exactly. Yes.
All I say is I don't remember that. And that's it.
If I don't remember it, never happened.
Yeah.
But then it would have been like was so much easier if you could just like call like an Uber back then because we walked everywhere.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
and hitchhike. Do you remember that time we hitchhiked from the truck stop?
Me?
Yeah, me and you.
Didn't you? What wasn't she pregnant at the time too?
I think
Was she
so.
pregnant?
Oh, see, I hardly remember a lot of stuff from back then.
I'm so glad
Me?
it's not
Dad,
just
I
me.
remember some like creepy guy trying to freaking like I had to go and hide behind some bush down there, like past it because I had to go and hide because this guy was like trying to pick me up. It was like 10 o'clock at night, and he pulled over, and then he kept driving over that bridge back and forth, and then he
Yes.
stopped.
Oh.
I hauled ass, and I'm sure he probably saw my footprints in the snow, but I hauled ass, and I sat in literally inside of this pine tree that was over on the side of the road there. And I was like sitting in there, and I was just watching him, and he was like parked and looking, and then he kept going by, and I sat there in the cold for like 2 hours before
my
I
God.
walked.
God, that's
Man,
You were gonna
horrible.
be
it was
you were gonna be
He said,
trafficked,
how
my
did
friend.
he live this long?
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh
Exactly.
yeah.
We were
I
feral. Do you remember when the TV used to have that commercial that came on late at night, like 10 o'clock, like, do you know where your kids are?
Yeah.
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 No, they
Like,
didn't.
Yeah.
when did
Just
that stop? When, like, consciously did they stop? Because I
wondering
remember
where
my,
the kids are.
apparently it doesn't fucking matter now.
My
I don't
parents
know.
gave me a car when I was 16. I would have always made curfew, but since they didn't, I just showed up
Yeah.
whenever I was able to
Yeah,
get home.
it's their fault.
Right.
Yeah.
I started
is
walking
their
home at
fault.
curfew time.
Yeah, their
It
fault.
is
Proud
their
to them.
fault. I love
Oh,
you all so
I
much.
love you guys too. This is it feels so good to do this.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. You know what? We really like I mean the reunion will be cool, but I feel like maybe we should like plan something for earlier.
Yeah.
For real, like we should try to make something happen before.
Yeah, I
'cause-
agree.
You guys are outnumbered. Come home.
Yeah.
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 I'm up
Yes,
for it.
I'm the largest introvert you've ever met now, so
My God, I
Like-
know. It's so weird how that's come around. Like, you were the outgoing one and I was the quiet one. Now I'm like,
Yeah.
come out of your house.
Oh yeah. She will just be like, I haven't seen you in months. I'm coming over. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I was always out doing something or always having people over my house. I don't want anybody coming to my house ever. And I don't want
Have
to
you
go
had
anywhere.
See, I would see if you guys all want to come to me, that's fantastic. I hate
It forces
leaving.
her to come out of the house.
Yeah.
And sometimes I will like subconsciously actually make myself physically sick to the point where I just can't. I can't
Yeah.
anyways.
I'm
Yeah.
the same
Well,
way.
that and you also have insane road rage.
I do. Listen, people are fucking stupid though.
Oh
Okay,
my God,
it's not like I want to scream. Yeah, I don't want to scream. I don't want to be mad. I want to just get to my destination alive and like without issues. And then these motherfuckers have to be on the road being assholes. And I'm like, well, if you're gonna be an asshole, I'm gonna let you know you're an asshole.
Oh yeah. Like nobody
know, it just
flips
took me
anybody
by
off here. I flip everybody off.
I don't even flip people off anymore. And like for years, I just give them the thumbs up and I smile real big at them like a creep. And I swear to God, that makes people more furious than anything else in the entire universe.
That New England attitude.
Yeah.
I can't even keep it under control, and they know it because we have meetings. And it's a library, mind you. We have our library meetings, and I'm like, well, that's dumb. They're like, oh, I always feel like people are like, oh God, here she comes. Like I'm bouncing in all full of my, ADHD with a hard H, and I'm like, hi everybody, what's going on? We're gonna be in this stuff. And they'll talk about something like, well, that's dumb. That's not gonna work. They're like, tell us how you really feel.
Well, hey, we're middle-aged women. We are by stereotype supposed to tell everyone how we feel.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
We've earned the fucking right.
Like,
Right.
I mean, like literally, like through time, like you think about it, like they talk about like middle-aged women. It's always like, the nagging wife or like the annoying mother-in-law or like whatever it is. So that's fine. I don't care. Call me whatever you want, but like I'm gonna say what I need to say now.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a little bit different for us too, like because we grew up in the 70s and 80s. That's what I feel. Like we're just semi-feral fucking swamp fucking monsters that have no
Yeah. Yeah, we
Yeah,
literally.
my passive aggressiveness sometimes, if I'm feeling attacked, it's like really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
God,
yeah,
yeah.
me
And
too.
the
I run
sarcasm.
Zoom.
The sarcasm is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, but it'll be like sarcasm, but it's like true sarcasm.
Yeah,
It
it's funny
feels
'cause
yeah.
so good to do that. That is my
Yeah, you're
favorite
like,
thing to
tell me
do.
where the lie is.
Yeah, yeah, and it's always good, like when you throw it at someone and like they're not sure exactly what the sarcastic motive behind it is, and like you see it and they're like, oh yeah, ha ha, but like their eyes are like looking at you like, what?
Yep.
I'm like,
I run Zoom meetings, and I definitely learned that my face is much better unseen.
Yes,
Yeah.
me too.
Because some of the, like, there's times when I catch if I don't have my face big, I make faces, and it's terrible. So I have to
Yeah.
actually stare at myself
yeah,
so that I can
Yeah.
control what my facial expressions do. Like,
The reason why people get Botox so that you can't see their expressions.
oh my God,
I have Botox injections for migraine, right? So
right.
the perk is that my forehead is fabulous, right? So I can always tell when it's wearing off. Like, obviously, my migraines hurt a little bit more, but because I'm like, I'll look at myself and I'll look like, move my eyebrows. I'm like, oh shit, my forehead's moving. I must be about 3 weeks out.
I started doing a little bit on my forehead 2 years ago after I had a patient when I was just looking at her normally, and she's like, honey, you shouldn't scowl like that. It doesn't look good on you. And I was just like, sitting there like, bitch, I'm not scowling.
Oh my
This is my fucking
God.
face. So yeah, after that, and I was like, it's horrible though, because out here people, and I think it's across the country though, but people in their 20s are getting it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
It's like, and they're like, oh no, it's such you don't get the wrinkles in the first place. And I'm just like, but you're like, when you're 50, you're gonna look like a freaking shaggy dog, you know.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it's like, because your body winds up getting used to it, from what I
Yeah.
understand.
That makes you age quicker, doesn't it?
Well, it relaxes it, but I think you need more. Like, you know, so it's
Yeah.
so the like I know like the lady that I go to, she tells me that there's some people out there that don't want any movement of their forehead, which is not how it's supposed to be. Like you're supposed to have movement, but it does kind of relax it so your muscles aren't pulling in so much. Because I had deep 11s, like they're called 11s, little antennas in between.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
mine were like wicked bad. Like it was getting really bad. And it's because my stress. That's where, you know, the muscles were pulling it in. So
Yep.
I had those. So it just kind of relaxes those muscles.
Yeah.
But she's like, you don't want to super relax them because you still want to be able to move. So it's like I still have movement and stuff. It's just not pulled so tight right into the middle of
That's exactly what I want. Like that's exactly what I'm talking about. Because I feel like I'm always like making the scowl face, like the overthinking, the judgy face, the like angry face, the like just what the fuck is happening right now face. And like it's
that's
starting
why I don't want Botox. I want to be able to make those faces.
I can still make those faces. It's just not like permanent, like 24/7, like it was.
It's just not what your face is doing all the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
See,
go
that's
into work and I'd be feeling happy, and people would be like, "You having a bad day? You look angry." And I'm like, "I'm not fucking angry. I am now." It's like I wasn't.
I wasn't. But now that you mentioned it,
yeah. I was like, damn it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've never had Botox, but I did have my nose done, and I'm so glad I did.
I always forget you did that.
Yeah, I was like, I was just.
They do like
30.
this nasal thing. So I've been seeing where some people get an injection. So you know how like they do like these plumping injections for areas where you losing your whatever.
Oh yeah, like
your collagen. So your face, like as you get older, your face naturally drops, and you go from cheeks to like puppy chops.
Yeah,
and so so people will sit there and to pull it back up, they put like that like a filler or something. They put something that's plumping into their cheeks, and it like pulls the skin, I guess, back up or something like that. I have not had that done. But they are also doing it for things like chins but noses are the biggest one. And it's like a temporary, it lasts, I don't know, like a year or something like that.
Wow.
But they go and they just do an injection, kind of like the lip filler things. Like they'll just do an injection there and it will change the shape of the nose from if someone has a nose that kind of has like a downward point, like it kind of, I don't know, it looks like.
Yeah, it's like it's like a
an upward
sculpting
point.
putty almost.
Yeah,
I've seen that.
crazy.
You got like the whole thing.
I got a major nose job done. Yeah.
It looks, I mean, honestly, like I mean, we've all seen pictures of you, and like you posted about the surgery. I remember, and like you look like you though. I would never even if you had like just. I would never have been like, oh yeah, she totally got her like not even an inkling of that. You look awesome.
He did a really good job, like a really good job. So we could never afford it. And so I was just turned 30 and I was just like, I don't know, it wasn't a midlife crisis, but I was like, I just want to do something, you know?
Yeah.
And so I called the insurance and they're like, oh yeah, if you have a deviated septum, it's covered and you just have to pay your copay, which is like $50.
Ooh.
Right. So I was like,
yeah.
I then saw a plastic surgeon. He's like, you have the worst deviated septum I've ever seen. I'm like, will you?
You're like, score.
Yeah. I'm like, will you sign this for my insurance company? He's like, yep. Like, let's do it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, he had to completely remove my septum. He said it was shaped like a fish hook, and he had to re-sculpt it. It was supposed to be like an hour-long surgery, and it was like almost a 5-hour surgery.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he's like, you didn't, he goes, I know your nose was big. I'm like, yeah, I know. He goes, but you didn't realize how bad your nose was. But my nose was like smashed by a horse when I was like 12.
Oh.
Never did.
Okay, makes sense.
I would have never, I'm sorry, but I have to just like say something here. I would never be like, oh God, I would never think you have, I would never say you have a big nose. I'm
like Owen Wilson's twin.
I'm sorry. No, absolutely. Dude, absolutely not. And like, I'm a little offended on your behalf that the doctor would be like, you have a, you have, I'm angry.
Don't be angry. It's true. I'm like, how the hell did I stay upright with a thing this big on my face?
Like, I don't know. I never heard you I don't remember you snoring or anything.
Yeah, I can't sleep with my mouth open. I don't know. So there's just a lot of times I just didn't sleep. If my nose was stuffy or something like that, I just couldn't sleep. I'd just be awake.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that sucks.
And there was one side of my nose that I really rarely could breathe out of. It was like maybe once or twice a year I could actually get some air in it. And then
that's horrible.
It was always like plugged. But yeah, I mean,
But your breathing is good now?
Yeah, everything's great, and I haven't had any issues with it. But I mean, I love that I did it. My confidence level. I remember shortly after I had it done, maybe a year later, I was at a gas station with my dad, and I was heading back to the car, and a guy looked at me and goes, "You're the prettiest girl I've ever seen," and I will never forget that. That was the best compliment I've ever got.
You're like, fuck yeah, I am.
Like, I call up my doctor. I'm like, I just want to give you a compliment. You did such a good job. Thank you.
It was your compliment, though. I see, man. Dude, I've always, like, literally, and I told you this when we had our call, but, like, I'm not fucking kidding you, and I'm not paying you lip service as your friend or someone who loves you. Like, I have, from the moment I've met you or saw you, thought that you were fucking gorgeous.
Aww.
And, like, it makes me so sad that, like, you don't see that or know that.
I mean, I don't know. We all have our quirks, right?
Yeah.
Like about ourselves, but
I think you're all just beautiful.
I do too.
I always felt like literally. I always just felt like, especially like you guys. I always felt like that like troll friend when I was.
Oh my God, ridiculous. My God, were we the hot girls?
You guys were the hot girls.
Did we know we were the hot girls?
No, 100.
Well, I never felt like it. That's for damn sure.
Oh my God.
But you were. I mean, you were.
Yeah.
With all this is, I am saying this with all love and respect for all of you, but like, and I'm including myself in this. We were the dumbest pieces of just loser shit dumb when it came to boys.
Yes, we were.
We only accepted like the worst because we didn't see anything better for ourselves. But
Yep.
there were, like, in hindsight, and I've heard it from about every single one of you, how other people were like so enthralled and in love with each and every fucking one of you. Like,
Why
you
did they
don't
tell
even
us?
Yeah, why did they tell us? Fuck them. They just sat there and they just
Seriously,
ruined my
though.
whole life.
Because
Man. They could have said
guys,
it could have been something different.
you
Yeah.
because you all were those cool hot girls. Like you
Okay,
you
so
were.
I didn't want any of those fucking guys anyway, because they were hot then.
I
Have
mean,
you seen them? Have you
Yes,
seen any
I
of them now?
have.
and
The
like,
hot
yeah,
guys are
and
not hot now.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. No, that is true, unfortunately.
He's not.
A big crush on.
You had a crush on him.
Yes. Well, he was nice to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
no,
all
he
it
was.
takes.
Right?
So
But
all
that
it took.
isn't that all it took at that point? Because, like, now looking back at it, we were all just like sad, traumatized, like love-starved, affection-starved girls, just like yearning for someone to just like care and love us for
Oh,
Yeah.
who we
yeah.
were. That brought about like a lot of bad decisions. Like,
Uh-huh.
you know?
I did.
I can name about 20 of them.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So
Yeah, but I birthed one of their children.
yeah. Yeah.
So I remember going over Esther's house one time, and God, he was only a few months old, and I just remember sitting there like, we have school tomorrow. Like, how are you going to go to school? Like, I remember that thought process of how on earth, like, this child is screaming and crying, and I want to leave. And how is she going to get up and go to school in the morning? But you did. And that was just, so it was just a very, like, a realization, like, oh my God, I'm not ever doing that. No,
I have
never going to be a thing.
Listen, we didn't want to do it either.
Yeah, see, that was the thing. Is, and I
We felt
learned
that
the
I
lesson.
love you, and then next thing you know, there's a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I know I think my mom was the first person that Esther really told they were pregnant. Like, I
Mhm.
think you guys took the pregnancy test at my house. And then talked to my mom afterwards. But this day, Esther, I have the biggest, proudest mama moment with you. Like, if I'm always like, don't think your life is over, or you can't make something of your life, or you can't live the life that you want to live. My friend Esther
Mhm.
was young when she got pregnant, and she went to school, she graduated, she put herself through college.
Mhm.
She is where she is today, and I mean, I brag about you all the time.
Me too.
Oh, thank you.
Me too. Because and she
Mhm.
like really had no support system at all.
Mm-mm.
Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
You
Yeah.
both
My family,
actually.
I was the black sheep in my family. My family, just like as soon as I got pregnant, and they were like, "We'll give you $10,000 to give him up for adoption." And I'm like, "Nope." And like second trimester,
Yeah.
but it was like after when I was around 4.5 months pregnant, I was offered a late abortion, up in Boston from one of my sisters. She's like, "I'll bring you up there." And I was like, no. And then I was basically told after that, like, no, well, I'm just black sheep after that. So, yeah,
That's
it was
horrible.
just,
Which I
it
never
is what
really
it is.
understood. I never could understand why it was like the one time when your child needs you the literal absolute most. You're going to be like, nah, I'm good. Like, I can't fathom, of course, even being a parent. Even when I was a step
Because they were
parent.
horrified and embarrassed. Mine were the same way.
Yeah.
They wanted me to like give it up for adoption and never tell anyone and just keep the
Mhm.
details secret. Because it was a very strict Catholic family, and here I was, this 15-year-old whore. So
Yeah.
and bringing shame upon the whole family.
Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly what it was like. And it was, it was shame. It was their pride.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you both could have easily been really horrible statistics, and instead you're like the happy, let's show people statistics. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
you really, you both have like really you've shown that teacher who told you guys that you weren't ever going to amount to anything. You definitely showed her like
Yeah, like
100%.
twice. So
Oh yeah.
Honestly, right now is that I think I'm actually really grateful to her horrible ass, because I feel like a lot of times she was in the back of my head.
Motivating you.
I have to prove her wrong. I'm going to get these degrees. I'm going to get this good job. I'm going to live my best life. I'm going to be happy just to say fuck you to you. So thank you for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you two are so amazing. I mean, you should be proud of yourselves. Truly 100% proud of yourselves, because
Oh,
you guys
yeah.
are amazing.
Yep.
Man, thank you so much.
Yeah,
I
I
really
absolutely
appreciate that.
agree.
See,
Um,
just know that you guys always have cheerleaders.
Yeah. I mean, there's always people that like, we love you so much, and
yep.
I know I haven't seen you guys since high school, but I think of you guys all the freaking time. I mean,
Same.
you're all important to me in a very important time in my life. I'll never forget you guys, even when I get old and senile.
Same. It's like, it's those friendships that they talk about in movies, like those formative years.
Hmm.
You guys are, if we were a movie, it would be us. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like
Yeah.
Right.
it would
Yeah.
be centered around us and our
Sometimes I see movies and I'm like, how do you follow me around?
yeah.
It's creepy. I'm going to change this.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I mean, isn't it crazy how just like how popular and mainstream like the 80s and 90s nostalgia is?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a little creepy.
It's just it throws me how many kids are just like eating it up. But then I try to remind myself like we liked a bunch of stuff from the
I was
60s.
going to say, us little
The
hippies.
60s and the 70s,
Yeah.
girls were hippies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I
Yeah.
just, so like one of my favorite like memories, and I don't know how or why this pops up because it's so innocuous. Like it really is one of those weird things that just stayed in my head, like a high school phone number or something. And this is always I connect to spring, like the beginning of spring. I remember going to school and I was wearing, of course, skirts, the little China shoes and little things like that. And it was freezing in the morning. And then I came outside and the sun was out. And me and Emily we were getting into Rose's truck machine. And that whole right there, I associate with spring because it was just the best, like freshest feeling leaving high school, knowing I was going to hang out with my friends and like we were going to chill afterwards. And life was so carefree.
Yep, piling into the big blue truck.
Yes, yes.
Heading off to do some debauchery somewhere with some hoodlums that we really should not have been hanging out with.
Yeah. So that's like one of my weirdest and like I guess kind of favorite after school springtime, like feeling like I was a teenager.
Yeah, I love that. Me too. Aw, yeah. I remember there was a what was it? Like a final because the weather was really nice. And Esther, I think Amy, I think you were there. We went with Chad because we had at our school, if you had finals, you could leave, beforehand, afterwards, or like whatever, as long as you came back to finish out whatever. And I remember going to one of the local parks and running through sprinklers.
Yes. I remember that. And then
like,
we went back into class all soaking wet. And I remember there's people in my class that were like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like what is happening right now? And it's just like every time I go by a park with sprinklers, it's what I think about. Like I'm like, yep, that was a good time. Because it really was. Yeah, so let's do that. Let's bring up what is I mean, well, Lily, I guess you don't remember anything.
No, tell me what happened. Was I there? Oh my God.
Yeah. What about like anyone have like, specific memories that they, from high school that's like their favorite or they cherish or like that come up a lot, whether you like it or not?
The lunchroom or lunch table.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, a lot of stuff centers around lunch because I think that's when all of us were always just able
To be
to like chill
together.
together because we all had separate classes. I was a grade behind you guys.
Yeah, you weren't even in our
So
grade.
yeah,
But our lunch, I will say that our lunch periods were like the ones on TV that you see,
that's what I was gonna
where
say.
Oh,
like
yeah.
They're ridiculous.
people of all grades just go in. It's mass confusion. Like there are, groups sitting at certain tables and like all stuff. They don't do that. They don't do that anymore.
No.
And not
Weird.
only our lunches were like that, but our study halls
Yes.
also in the cafeteria. So, and
Yeah.
we had a
Those
big,
were
we
where I
had
had some of my craziest. I
Yeah.
would drop a dose before, like in my study hall before, and there was a couple times it kicked in way before it should have. And that floor in there messed me up so many times. So bad.
yeah.
I remember we had a Taco Bell.
Yes. And a
Yes.
Pizza Hut.
And
Yeah, and I
yes.
remember I was pregnant and poor, and I remember like everybody used to steal tacos and bring them.
Yes.
I can't remember who it was, but she was a cool chick, and I wish I could remember.
glasses,
even look and
right?
see.
Rob was the girl that used to be like a queen at stealing from the Taco Bell.
Yes.
I remember she'd put them in her flannel, like
up the sleeves.
up the sleeves, and then like holding them to her body.
She was like burning herself.
And yeah, and she would like come to the table and just like unload.
I know. I mean, I was poor too. You know. I mean, so like, mean, I'm not going to say this guy's name, but he was very tall, and he would sit at our table with us, and he would give me $1.25 every day for lunch, so I could buy lunch and get an ice cream afterwards.
Aww.
He's such a good eggie.
He is amazing.
Let's
One
go
of
there.
my other favorite memories taking place in the lunchroom was when someone stole the chicken nugget from Esther's plate.
Oh my gosh, my queen.
Back down on that poor kid.
And I was pregnant. You don't steal food from a pregnant chick.
No,
She
that is
still
literally-
remembers
I will never forget that. And I think as
Best
long as he
moment
lived, he
ever.
remembered it too. He totally remembered that moment. I was like, "You're never gonna steal anything from a pregnant woman." And he's like, "Whoa, that was what the fuck?"
And we were all like,
Not-
"What are you thinking? You don't do that."
Well, he
you know?
stole it, and I got mad at him, and then he sat there and he said something really rude.
Right. I mean, I'm not.
Yep.
pregnant
So when
and
he
I
said
was
that, I was
sorry.
just like,
Yeah, you
grabbed
were.
his long ponytail and
ripped his shirt, and I think he scratched his face.
Yeah. No, we talk about feral, but Esther literally went feral on him.
That was.
I think we all got her some more food after that. We're all like, "Here you go, I love you."
No, he definitely.
that was like my main meal of the day. I was like, I had a food, I didn't have a lot of food. I was sitting there living in a freaking upstairs little attic.
Yeah, your main source was school lunch every day.
Yeah.
Esther, remember we'd go to the food kitchen.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. I remember that. And I remember he got mad at me one time. My son's dad got mad at me and dumped a plate of food on me because I forgot what the hell it was. I was just sitting there and having lunch or something, and I think he was pissed because he had to work there. But it's like,
mine had to work there too. That's why. But we got all those like day old Entenmann's. That shit was good.
Yeah, well, I don't think he was working there because of the money. I think he was community service. Because
Probably.
I think
Ours was in order to pay the rent. We worked there. That was the deal through the town.
I was living at his parents' house at the time.
Oh, see, you were living above
grandfather's.
me.
So why didn't you girls move in with me? Is my question.
Huh?
Like, if you guys came to my house and told my parents you needed a place to stay, they would have taken you in a second. It was a small
Because of our
apartment,
dumb
though.
men. It was because of our dumb men.
Yeah. It always
Well,
comes
I
down
was
to the men.
I
Yeah.
started in the grandfather's house of my son's dad. So I started in his grandfather's house, and then when there was some abuse going on and drug use by an uncle, because he was using heroin and stuff in the house.
That's where I
that-
think I visited you that day.
Yeah, so then I got removed because there's a choice that where the state was either going to a social worker came to me when I was in school and said, you know, because of what you had mentioned, you and your son either get removed from that house or your son does and you can stay. And I was like,
No.
well, like, fuck no, I'm not gonna sit there and just like let them take. So they took me that day and grabbed me, brought me to the house. So Big R was on the couch while the state social worker's there, and he's smoking a joint and being like, "Oh, it's gonna be a interesting evening." And I got, you know, blindfold, take it to a shelter, all that other stuff. So when I went from the shelter, though, they set me up with an apartment because I was. They assisted me to go on state assistance, and then they put me into an apartment.
Okay.
So that's how that transition went. So it wasn't like I, you know, at the time was homeless or anything and looking for a place. I was,
Right.
you know, with him and his family. And then, of course, you know, I wasn't supposed to have any contact with him, but like, I kid you not, like, I think like within like a day, 24 hours, there he was sitting there with a laundry basket with his clothes, just moving on in. When I opened up the door, it was like, oh, guess who's back?
Yeah, so I mean, even if you had wanted to move in with Amy's family, which probably would have been wonderful, but like you didn't even have the time or the opportunity to make a choice or ask or even think about that because you were literally taken away. So
Yeah,
that's
I was, it was just like, boom, there
Yeah.
one day, and it's like, all right, come on. And that was like, and I had just received that job. Remember how they had that bank at the high school?
Yep.
Oh
And
yeah.
I got the job for the banker position. Like I was like going to be one of the banker people.
Yep.
And I was like, yes. And then I was like, fuck. I was like,
Yeah.
there it goes. Yep.
Yeah, that was horrible. That was horrible. And a bank, can you like think about it now, like our high school, what was going on in there? Like just in this episode, in like the last like 10 minutes alone, we've mentioned that we had a bank and a Taco Bell and a Pizza Hut
And a
in our
5-star
school.
restaurant. Didn't
Yep.
we have a 5-star restaurant?
Yes, we did. We had the
Oh,
cafe.
yeah. Yeah,
And-
that's right.
You took the class,
And-
you cooked the food.
Yeah. Yep. And like the public could actually go in on a certain day or whatever, and the students would make them delicious food.
I was in that.
I never tried that delicious food.
We
They
couldn't
never
eat
did
in
us.
there.
I just remember.
One time
I just
got
remember
to
those
try it.
cookies from the store.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
oh yeah, we had the store.
The Otis Spunkmeyer cookies.
Yes.
And if you were in the marketing class, which Esther and I both were, we got to work in the store, and
Yep.
one of the jobs in the store was to make the cookies.
Make
And
the
we were
cookies.
always told specifically that we weren't allowed to eat the cookies. But guess what we did?
Eat the cookies. Did you put pot in the cookies?
We should have. But I also remember, like, because it was like 3 for $1, and they would come in these little like paper envelope bag things, and
And they
when
were warm and delicious.
yes, they were so good. And like when our friends would come up, you know, they'd pay their $1 for their 3, and we would jam as many as we could into these little paper bags, and like people would be like walking out with these overflowing things. It was wonderful. It was a good time.
It was.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful thing.
It really was. We were spoiled. And I feel like our age group, we were the last to have like, I don't want to say like a pure experience because every experience is pure, but like we had a different experience because there were so many less rules.
Yes.
Than even
We were
like
one of the last years to have a smoking section, for Christ's sake, in our high school.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, and do you remember when we snuck out of study hall and went into the auditorium and climbed up onto the catwalk to smoke?
I was just
Oh my
about to
God,
say that.
all of the time. I was just talking about that.
Yep.
Yeah, hanging out in the catwalk. We were like, I don't know, we just did so much shit. You could walk out of that school anytime you wanted out of any door. They were never locked.
Oh,
No.
yeah.
I remember I was having a bad day one time and I left school and I went over to Amy's house and I because I called up her mom and she was like, come on over, and we sat there and we just like smoked a joint and and I had like a counseling session with her mom.
That sounds about right. I remember
Yeah.
with like one of my guy friends, I was hanging out and I came home for something. I think I was going to stay over his house. And I walk in and there's like, all you girls are just sitting in there hanging out. My mom spoke a pot. Like, hey, girls, just if you sleep over, save me a room in my bed.
Yep. I remember the big rule over, like the one rule was to not wake your dad up.
Oh my God. Do not wake him up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like everything else was like A-okay and it was like good to go. But like dad worked third shift, do not wake him up.
Yeah. Super cranky if you woke him up. But as soon as he left, we could do whatever the hell we wanted.
Yep. Oh yeah. Well, it's amazing how quiet we could party too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Or
The
we
best
just
part
walk
is
down
that when he would get out of bed and he did not care who was in that house, that man came out in his boxers. It was like,
no, whitey
"Morning."
tighties. He wasn't cool enough for boxers. It was whitey tighties.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It was somebody else's dad that would walk around in his boxers.
Dads of the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, just
My dad with a paper in his tidy whities. I'm like, oh my God. What are you doing? Get in the house.
That's ridiculous. I could never I couldn't imagine just like doing that. I mean, I guess not in tidy whities, obviously, but like in any of it, just like hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird, but like men can like do that. Like they go topless all the time. Like regardless of what they look like or what's going on, they're just like, hey, like
they're like, that's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
So much easier. Well, that's what I do now at my house. It's just me, so I'm just like, it's fine. Whatever I'm wearing, It's like, oh shit, my clothes are in the dryer, and I'm just walking around the house. I'm like, damn, it's still wet. I'm a dirty another pair of clothes.
Esther's actually a closet nudist now.
This is nice.
Yeah.
Oh God. So I'm gonna ask, what do you think the best advice you've been given, and not just as a kid or a teenager, but just in life in general?
I don't know if I've been given advice that I've really found poignant, but I've just more so learned a lesson about expectations. And it doesn't matter how old you are, teenager, whatever, doesn't matter what point in your life, when you have expectations of a situation and of somebody, and they don't meet those expectations, that's kind of your own problem. Those are your expectations, and if you can't either communicate that or relay that to your other person that you're trying to relay it to, then it's kind of your own fault for having those expectations if you didn't actually voice them. And no,
you're absolutely right. I mean, people aren't mind readers, and if we need something else, then it is our responsibility, I think, to say something.
Right.
But that's hard. That's really, really hard.
Oh yeah.
I think
I'm a people pleaser, so I don't like to ruffle feathers. And if I have a boundary or something that I want to express, like, I really have anxiety over it for days before I can even utter the words to somebody.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter whether it's a stupid situation or a serious situation.
Yeah.
So
yeah, same. I think that is probably a common trait amongst our generation for sure, because our parents didn't want us to rock the boat in any way.
Right.
You just kind of go with the flow of whatever's happening and don't say anything.
Right. Whatever is our family stuff is our family stuff. And, don't talk about it. Don't get mad about it. Just accept it. So I ended up being a pretty angry teenager.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have one that I'm like learning, just recently learned, which is like, oh my gosh, is just like and I think everyone kind of experiences this at one point in time or another where things just seem to be like in chaos all around them, and it's like anxiety, and you're trying to get everything together or figure out what to do, and you're basically like kind of like the person that's drowning, that's flailing, looking for help, looking for direction, but you're like sitting there in the water, just flailing and drowning. And, and you're trying to handle it yourself. And sometimes you just have to like let go and let it be and know that, it'll wind up coming to you. The answer will wind up coming to you. But if you're sitting there amongst the chaos and not listening for direction, you're not going to find it, so it's kind of like that drowning person where the lifeguard can't help you until you stop moving.
Right.
And then they can bring you to safety. And life is sometimes like that, where if you are just so overwhelmed and so chaotic and just like not sure what to do or where to go, you just have to like quiet and like just like kind of step back, and then your path will kind of be laid out, and when you're on the right path, it kind of comes together pretty easy if you are on the right path, because it does get laid out for you. Whereas if you're on a wrong path, I found that there's like more obstacles that kind of get put in, kind of like thorn bushes, where it's like you try and go that path and it's like, oh my God, I'm just like getting bombarded left and right, and it's like, well, that's the bumper that's being put in place, to kind of bump you back to where you need to be. So so that has been my experience. So it's like if everything is seeming so chaotic around you and you're trying to figure out where to go in life, you're at crossroads or whatever, just kind of be still and just wait for the path to kind of it'll show itself. Just listen.
Right. Kind of like the path of least resistance.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
It really is like that for a reason. And I think that we try to just be I don't know, I guess maybe strong or independent type of people that we are, that we, the path of most resistance seems like the path that we're meant to take, because, well, we're doing this by ourselves. It can't be easy, right?
Right.
It can be really easy, but really, when you just, learn to accept certain things.
Yeah. Stop fighting it.
Then it just kind of, like she said, just step back for a minute and take a breath.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes doors close because they, were meant to close because a better one is sitting there open and waiting for you to go through it.
Yep. Sometimes it's like that saying, like, sometimes not getting what you asked for is the biggest blessing. Yeah.
Or being careful what you ask for, because if you get it, it winds up being the worst thing ever.
Yeah. No, that is 100% true. Absolutely. Yeah. Just because we want something doesn't mean that it's right.
Right.
Yeah.
What we want and what we need are always two very different things.
Yeah.
Recognizing that is a very grown-up thing to do, and I'm not a fan.
Can you believe
Sometimes
it?
I need an adult and no one's there.
Yeah.
It's
how scary is it that we are like not only the adults, but like we're like real adults, guys. Like,
I hate when I look around for the adult and it's me. I'm like, shit.
Yeah, it's like we're approaching 50. Like, we can't not. Listen,
why are we approaching that age?
I can't
even fathom that.
Nope.
I can't either. And I'll say, like, a lot of people were like, oh, turning 30, oh, it's so bad. And then like turning 40, oh, and I've always been, I wanted to be 30. I was cool with 40, but 50, oh boy, that sounds old as fuck.
I don't know who's gonna be 50, but I ain't me.
Like, What even?
I think, and I'm gonna say it to the day I die, it's the preservatives that we intook in the that make us look the way we do. Screw
It's our
the
town's
cream,
water.
screw all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, it's all the chemicals in the water.
Chemicals we
Yes.
ingested
Yeah, but it's
and
not
are
fact,
now
though. Think
turning
about it.
into.
We've been
That-
tickled.
Yeah, because you know what? Have you seen 30-year-olds now?
Yes, it's scary.
Why do they look so old?
Why do they look so old? I see people and I'm like, oh, they've got to be around the same age as us, and thinking like the way that we look, and then they'll be like, oh, well, I'm 28 or I'm 32, and I'm like, fuck, what is
Took out all the
happening?
preservatives. Because they're removing all the preservatives out of their food. That's why they're not being preserved.
They don't know how to cook, and
Yeah, they went organic, and now that's it.
organic and all natural, and they're all like, "There you go. There's your all natural. Enjoy.
Congratulations, you saved the
Give me
planet.
all the preservatives."
Yeah. I'm thankful for my preservatives, for my lack of wrinkles.
Yeah.
Yeah, because no
I
one
was
believes my
mummified while I
age.
was alive.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Hey Lily, what about you? What kind of advice has brought you through life, or what have you learned getting older?
I think the biggest one is that you cannot look outside for happiness. You in other people. You have to find it in yourself, because when you put it, I'm disappointed.
Yeah. No, that's really good.
Yeah.
I feel like we grew up, and Dave and I have been going through a lot of old like 80s shows and like rewatching them. And I feel like us growing up in the time that we did, there was a lot of pressure to be certain ways. You know what I mean? Like we had, I know kids nowadays have a lot of pressures with like the Instagram ready models and like all the like, you know, plastic surgery and like the lip plumpers and like, you know, whatnot. But I also feel like they get a lot of encouragement from the outside world to not necessarily follow that. Whereas our generation, we had a lot of pressure on us to not only look a certain way, but to act a certain way and like, you know, be a certain way, whether it be because of our ethnicity, our, you know, financial standings, our gender, like whatever. Like there were cookie cutter, like stereotypes that we all have had to overcome being force fed. You know what I mean?
Oh, I think we're the last generation of you should be seen and not heard.
Well, that's
Right.
But I
Yeah,
think that's why
sometimes
we were
neither.
looking for outside validation so much. And that's what I mean by it, is stop looking for outside validation.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it doesn't even have to do with looks or anything. It's like a lot of times it was like, I had to have a long talk with my therapist about it, because it was one of those things where it was like, you know, I'm like, I don't even know if I want to be in a relationship, but I feel like like they said, like, you know, you're supposed to be hooked up. You're supposed to be married. You're supposed to be settled. And I'm like, well, that doesn't feel right to me. I did that. I had the
It all feels
marriage and the kids and and I'm like, and that was supposed to make me happy, and it didn't. So that's when I had to learn that I have to figure out what makes me happy.
Yep.
Right.
That was the thing for me too that I learned was I got to love myself before I can actually be in a relationship and love somebody and accept their love. And once I realized that, you know, I just
and that's it. It took
the guy I found.
Yeah, it took me 45 years to fall in love with myself just the way I am. And I even tell guys on dates, I'm like, listen, I'm a lot, and I'm not going to change at all. Either you can hold on for the ride or you can't.
Yeah. And you don't have to
I
change
swear to
for
God,
anybody.
we do not ever need to get together.
Yeah, we do.
You want to talk about carnage back then?
No, we do all have to get together. Like we all have to be in the same state at some point, and that night has to happen. And Amy and I will document the three of you on the prowl. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
No, and you have to listen to this. It wasn't even like a month ago where my friends are like, oh, you know what? I've never been to a club. Like, these girls are in their 30s. I'm like, we got to go then. And so we get there, and like as soon as we enter the back room, the bass hits, I'm gone. And I ended up on the go-go podiums next to the DJ.
That's awesome.
Well, okay. Can I tell you something that will blow your mind then?
Tell me.
I've never been to a club either.
Oh, bitch, we're going.
Oh, we definitely gotta get together.
Get ready to throw it back, girl. Get ready to throw it back.
I don't even like dance music, and I go to the club.
Yeah.
You have to give 0 fucks, though. You gotta leave your fucks at the door.
Yep.
All of them.
Yeah.
I can do that. I hope.
We'll be there. We'll help you.
Yeah. give me a couple drinks. It'll be fine.
I definitely know that I cannot do the dance things that I did. It's like what size I must have had.
Oh no, I bent over to put my socks on the other day and I was sore for a week.
Like it's fun. Like I'm sitting there, I'm like, huh. Me and my girlfriend used to go, gosh, every Friday and Saturday we used to work at this one place with the DJ that would DJ at this place. So we knew the entire bar and the owners and everything. So we would walk in and he would start immediately playing certain songs. And it was just like kind of like our place.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like I look back on that, I'm like, oh my God, how did we not get talk about, I don't even know. Growing up, that's for sure. We must have been protected by somebody up there because.
Well, I think about that, like in all of us in general, just like how did we not get stolen, killed, or like trafficked?
I don't know.
For real, I pay zero attention to my surroundings up until about 10 years ago when it started to become a thing at Walmart. I'm like, I better watch what's happening around me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, same.
Like, what happens? We get stolen? No.
Yeah.
No, that's why you gotta get tattoos and piercings. They don't want us.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm good.
Yeah.
Do stupid things. I was over in where the fuck was I? I was over in Cabo, and you know how like Mexico right now is like kind of they have like the cartel and you kind of like the iffy stuff. So me and 3 other girls were being shown to like where this like little street restaurant is by this like street guy over in Cabo. And so we're walking over there and I had quite a bit of tequila on one of the things. So I was drunk. And this guy had, so if anyone knows like what the teardrops mean for gangs.
Oh yeah.
So the teardrops is like the number, like who they, like for when they kill someone.
Yep.
So I'm sitting there and I'm walking and this guy has, has one of his teardrops on there and I go and I touch the fucking teardrop.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
who'd you kill for that one?
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Fucking Mexico.
So we're lucky you're even here.
How are we still alive?
Yeah,
That's
like how?
Who's gonna babysit us on this excursion we're going on? Because I already can tell me and Esther are getting into all kinds of trouble.
Oh yeah.
Because that wasn't when I was a teenager. That was like a week and a half ago. Right?
That was last week. So.
That's what I said. Who's gonna watch us?
Yeah, that's me. You know,
We're
it's
gonna
like
be
boom. I think my
babysitters.
filter just goes. I just ask the question like.
I can't believe you didn't get your finger chopped off.
I know. Oh my God.
I like this gringa.
Yeah. No, it was just My friends still are like, I can't believe you fucking said that. I was like, well, what? I don't know. I was just wondering. Like,
Did he
There's
say?
no
the interesting thing is he said that he used to live in Queens, New York. So I think he is down there because he ran.
Oh,
You know what I
makes
mean?
sense. Yeah.
that's
Yep.
dude. That makes it even more petrifying. Like, is some like runaway like gang member who has like evidence of like kills on his face, and you're like, oh hey, what's that? Let me touch it.
I just touched it. Who'd you kill for that one?
Oh my God.
Like a squirrel.
Like, I've always thought of you as like a fearless person, but like, man, dude, that's like scary impressive.
Yeah. Well, that was the tequila talking.
Boy, does that tequila have a loud mouth.
Yeah.
That tequila is not to be trusted.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh
shit.
God.
Oh my god, I love these girls so much. And this just makes me want to spend more and more time with them and make more and more memories for us to cackle about and just hug the freaking bag out of them. Like, oh goodness. But for real, like I cannot express how grateful I am to call these women my oldest and best friends and my chosen family. Like, oh, what a trip it's been. We have a whole other half of this call too, so woo! um, this is it's gonna be great. Definitely make sure to come back in 2 weeks for part 2, because you're not gonna want to miss it. We get, silly and serious and it's just a lot of fun. And maybe, on a side note, send a quick, love ya bitches text to your besties, because man, are they important. And it's always nice to hear it from someone you love. And just, yeah. I want to thank my very, very special guests, Anne, Esther, Amy, and Lily, for coming on the show, for joining me, and for sharing today. I cannot express how much I love each of you. And thank you, the audience, for joining us today for Naive in the 90s, the podcast. I hope you come back in 2 weeks for part 2 of this amazingly awesome call. Make sure to follow so you don't miss it, and please consider leaving a rating or review if you enjoyed the show wherever you stream it. For questions, comments, feedbacks, and contributions to the conversation, send me a message at naiveinthe90s@gmail.com or connect with me on social media with the handle @naiveinthe90s. Find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. And of course, don't forget to grab your copy of Naive in the 90s, the creative nonfiction book based on real-life diaries from the early and mid-90s. Follow along as a high schooler tries to navigate life, friends, relationship, and of course, the raddest era ever. Find it on Amazon today. And if you enjoyed this book, please make sure to leave a review. It truly helps. Thank you again for joining. Hope to see you next time. Peace and love, my dudes.